based on the CT image. So it says that everything which is below minus 200 Hounsfield per unit will be referred or will be considered as air, and everything which is above it will be considered as a body. So this is something you can edit. So yeah, I don't really use this frequently, but there are different types of tissues, and you can set up different kinds of threshold which the system will use. So it's much more sophisticated in case of the PET CT systems, because there is a range you can set up. It's only one threshold. So I don't really think it is useful. I mean, yeah, but if there is a really high attenuating object, like, I don't know, for example, one of our labs are using ultrasound machine during the scan, and it is a kind of metal material with a really high attenuating property, and it really results in a kind of distortion on the image. If you don't say if you don't add a system that it is a separate material with a really high Hounsfield unit, because otherwise, so if you set up in that way, it will really improve the image quality, so there will be no distortion. But I think that only cases like this, when you need to have a kind of advanced material map. So it does not worth to add a separate segment for adipose bone and lung and things like that, because so even though for like rodents, like mice and rats, so there is no big difference within their body in terms of attenuation. So I would go for just a binary segmentation, and yeah, and actually these are the parameters for the iterative SPECT reconstruction. Yeah, and this is so the field, or yeah, the field of view is scanned, so it cannot be modified. Yeah, you can make it smaller, but you cannot cover more, of course. You can also zoom, you can modify the palette window, and so on. Okay, so we apply some filters like regularization, but as a rule, what we always recommend is to set up all the parameters to be medium, because it usually results in a good image quality. But there might be some, I don't know, some exceptional studies or scans where you need to modify some parameters, but just make sure that the medium is not good enough for you, and after that you should modify some of the parameters. So the resolution, yeah, but I don't think that we can go higher than that. Yeah, the resolution is 256 is the highest we can go. The iteration, so the number of iteration always affects the time which is necessary to the reconstruction be completed. So the medium is enough. The subset is something which can make the reconstruction time shorter, but it is not as flexible or not that logical than it is the way for the PET systems, because it is somehow related to the protocol type and what we use for the scan, but it actually can be either 1 or 3. But so we should go for 3 because it's higher than 1, but that's all. The Monte Carlo quality is something which is really important because it means that so we can use only a part of the detected counts for the reconstruction and still have good image quality. But if we use just a portion of the detected counts, the time will be shorter, which is necessary for the reconstruction to be completed. But if we use high Monte Carlo quality, so all the counts will be used. So longer reconstruction time, but more precise image at the end. Let's do it a medium. Attenuation and scatter correction is something we want to apply. It can also be none, but in that case, of course, there will be no quantification. So you will only have counts in every voxel, so no concentration. So let's turn it on. The geometrical calibration, so there is 2 options. So either original or the latest, because for now it doesn't matter because it's the same, but so you might need to reconstruct data from last year and with a new geometrical calibration, and then you might realize at some time point that so the latest is better than the original one, so there is a possibility to choose between them. Okay, decay reference time. So you can choose not to have decay correction, or you can select the start. The start means the start of the acquisition, or you can select the admin, which is the start of the administration, which is the injection itself. Okay, so because usually you have to wait about half an hour after the injection. That's an average post-injection time, and usually people go for the start. For the reference time, it depends on you.
I will use the
Administration, okay. And we want to have quantification. And use original calibration. Yes, and activity concentration. Okay, the collimator plate penetration has to be turned on if you have a high energy isotope, which means like higher than 300.
他在问我们问题。
没有，就是比较高能的要搞这一个，就点131之类的。
I don't know if you use the high energy isotope, but then the structure between slab and high,
I don't really understand what is the question is. So what it does, that it actually consider that some portion of the photons can fly through the aperture itself, so not the pores, but the material itself, and this is what it kind of I don't know. This is
just
a
a
feature which corrects this effect. Yeah, that's
Because
the
it's
only
some
thing.
high end，就是高能的，然后它会直接穿透那个 detector，所以你不会被侦测到。但是它如果按了那个的话，它就可以侦测到它高能。那多少算高能？What is the energy? What is the energy for the high energy?
I think it's higher than 300. I would say.
900?
300.
300.
So the like that 131, you have to use this.
Yeah, yeah.
131.
Okay, and so still you can do it, or you can actually start the reconstruction in two different ways. So one is that we will press next and then start, but there is also an in-queue button. So which means that if we press it, we can close the protocol and open another spec data which we don't have now for reconstruction and in-queue and so on. So set up all of them, and at the end, so there will be a list under the spec tab, and we will just press enable processing, and they will be finished, one by one.
就是如果你有2个、3个要 recount 的话，你可以按那个下面弄
这个 Increase
E
ENQUE，这个可以重组好几个。
对。
不同条件可以调。
So you don't have to wait, for the first reconstruction to be finished and set up the second one and wait and set up the second one, set up, leave, and by next morning everything will be ready.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's reconstructing. It's quite a fast process.
太低。
哦，它已经开始 recount 了。
而且我觉得
15 minutes.
Yeah, this is a kind of estimation which will be reliable in a couple of minutes. At the beginning it is changing really fast, but yeah, we will see. Okay, while we are waiting for that, I want to show you how the multi-cell software is built up. Okay, so the multi-cell software, do you remember what it does? What it is it used for?
What is what?
The multi-cell software. Do you remember what it is?
No.
No, that's for the vital monitoring and gating and bed heating and everything. So it is.
Gating the.
So it is on the desktop. This is the multi-cell. It's a little mouse
Multi-cell.
mouse icon. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Very cute 就在这时候你要说像我一样 ，like me 。这个是 gating 的，
对。
这就是没见，忘记了。
它那个 respiration 都就是一直跳。
Yeah, this is the noise we also saw on the display on the side of the docking unit, if you remember.
就是 background 的意思吗？
noise
杂讯
比较。敏感啊。
这根是哪一个？白色那一个？
是蓝色的。
哦，蓝色的。那这个呢？
这个是呼吸贴片。
呼吸贴片。
不是呼吸贴片的，就是
呼吸贴片是下面那个
ECG，然后这是呼吸贴片，然后这
就是白色的根，
那一定要用肛温吗？
对啊。
一定要用钢，
一定要用肛温哦。
确实
Is it necessary to put this one in the angle, or just put the body?
No, I mean, is it necessary to do what?
Put the angle temperature.
Oh, no. So it's so what we usually do is just heat the bed and don't use the rectal probe. That some labs are really have strict tools to really monitor the animal temperature. If you don't have to and you are not really caring about, you just want to make sure that the bed is really heated up. That's completely enough.
它只是一定要用。
Yeah. So the first
但是它可以，它
panel.
其实可以喷。But we were thinking maybe we can put it under the air dome, like a animal.
Yeah. That's also fine. So the way you can set up, because maybe we should reset this device because there is nothing here. So under the settings, you see here this. So this is the set temperature. So by default it is always 20. So even though you just turn on the bed heater by pressing this button, it will not really heat up the bed because the set temperature is only 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's too low. So first you have to say at least 38. And the 3 here shows us that the returning air temperature will be measured. So because I told that, so the bed heating system is working in a way that, you know, the pumped air will be heated in the docking unit, and that warm air will be converted at the bottom of the bed, and it is returning, and that returning air temperature will be measured by the docking unit again. So and we feel that this is the most stable way, because so there are just some formulas. So there could be also an animal temperature to be used as a feedback signal for the, you know, that, I don't know, that's a thermometer or something in it. Of course it can be used if you use the rectal, but it is not as stable as the returning air.
这个要选择模式对，可是为什么会有
Yeah,
会有
heater.
直接到到底
So don't change it from 3. Okay, this is the only thing which is important now. There is also, because this is a kind of a coordinate or the graph, so you can put there, but I think that something is not really good, because so we don't see here the set temperature, and the air temperature is always, I think, 24 or something like this. So I will reset the device because we have to see here something. Yes. So sometimes it can happen that you don't even see any noise on these. So for the heart rate on the respiratory, yeah, it's back. Yeah, but unfortunately, so this part cannot be made wider, but there is a version of it which has the corrected window width. So I will install it maybe today from the hotel or tomorrow or something. But actually, yeah, so you can have curves indicating the temperature of the animal, the set temperature, the heating prior temperature. It's not really important, but this part is just for this purpose. And if we turn on the bed heater, so you will hear the noise coming from the gantry because the pump is on. Yeah, it is a little bit noisy.
这是它的声音吗？
对，再给它一个热气，让它的组装可以加热。
Yeah.
要一直放这个
And so there are 2 channels we will use for to trigger the acquisition. So the one, I mean, yeah, the first one is the ECG one. This, I think that the second one is for the MR triggering. So the first one is for the SPECT or the PET, but just to say to stay on the safe side, just set both, either ECG1 or RESP1, you know, depending on the purpose. So whether you want to do respiratory or ECG gating scan.
What's the difference respiratory 1 and respiratory 2 and the ECG1 and ECG2? Basically, the signal come from the
Yeah, I think that the reason is that so there are hardware possibilities to collect more than one signal from, through different channels, but we use the first one. So that's the only thing you have to remember. Okay, and what else do we? I will create a screenshot because it's moving and it's not easy to follow. So yeah, so because we see here different things. So the curve is of course this kind of purple or pink thing, but we also see here, for example, this red line. So the red line is the threshold, because if you have, because we want to use, the triggers which are the peaks above the threshold. Okay, and the triggers are labeled with these kind of, green lines with the, pink dots on it, on them. So it will be easier to understand when we have a real animal scan, because we will have a nice regular curve. But actually,